Hello and welcome. In this tutorial, you will learn how to get started working with live images using MVTec HALCON. At the end, we will have an HDevelop program that can be used to save images interactively from your camera to your hard drive. In most cases, the easiest way to get started is to use the Image Acquisition Assistant. Here, you can see the standardized image acquisition interfaces that are included with the HALCON installation. Note, however, there are many more proprietary interfaces available for download from our website. Once you have connected your camera to your computer, simply click on Auto Detect Interfaces to select from a list of available imaging hardware. If this does not work, you may have to install the camera drivers from the camera manufacturer and/or configure the camera first. Then choose the interface you want to use and go to the tab Connection. Here, select the camera you want to use as device. Then you can connect to the camera and acquire a single image with the Snap button. If this works, you can also start the Live Image Acquisition mode. If one of these steps fails, it's a good idea to have a look at the output console. The low-level errors displayed here may help determine the problem. For example, this is what happens when we open a second Image Acquisition Assistant and try to connect to the same camera again. An error is shown, indicating the camera is probably already in use. Another common problem you might encounter is a firewall blocking the camera connection. Now it's time to configure your camera. First, let's adapt the aperture of your camera. For this, it's helpful to visualize overexposure in the acquired images. To do this, we open the gray histogram. To reduce the flickering of the histogram, we set a user-defined range. Then we enable the visualization and move the lower threshold to 255. As a result, all areas where the gray value is at maximum are highlighted red. With this visual aid, we can adapt the aperture of our camera lens. Additionally, in the tab Parameters, you can further configure the camera image. For example, often you may want to adapt the exposure time. Normally, you want to make use of the whole gray value range without risking overexposure in the relevant parts of the image. Another parameter you may want to change frequently is the frame rate, to have a more fluent image acquisition, for example. The parameters you change here can later be inserted into your code. When you are satisfied with the aperture, you should focus the image as well. A convenient way to simplify the image focusing using HDevelop is to open a zoom window. Now, place the mouse at a contour that's supposed to be in focus. Then you can use this as a reference when adjusting the focus of your camera. Alternatively, using the Line Profile tool, you can check the gradient of edges along a line to evaluate the camera's focus. The more jagged this line is, the better your camera is focused. Now that the image looks good, let's have a look at the tab Code Generation. In this case, we want synchronous acquisition, meaning that an image is acquired each time the grab image operator is called. The asynchronous mode is used, for example, for triggered image acquisition. Now let's insert this code. First, Open Frame Grabber connects to the camera we chose. Then the exposure and the frame rate are set just as we set them in the Image Acquisition Assistant. If we look at the parameter list, we see that only the parameters available for the currently selected camera are shown. Next, images are acquired in a loop. When running the program, we can see the images from the camera. Lastly, I prepared a local procedure which saves the current image to a file if the mouse is clicked inside the graphics window. Now, when running the program, the time when the image was acquired is used as the file name when the image is saved. This concludes this tutorial. Now you should be able to get started working with live camera images in HALCON. The example application shown is available for download by clicking the link provided in the video description. Thank you for watching.